To the Mel K show. Today I'm so excited. My friend and my hero is here to join us. Hello, Roseanne.
Hello, darling. How are you?
I'm good. I miss you. How's it going?
Well, it's going pretty good. I'm out there trying to pick all the dead leaves, and that's like I guess it's an 18 hours a day job.
Oh my
Keeping
God.
my fingers busy so I don't smoke, keep them
Oh, good
busy
for
so I don't
you.
smoke. Keeping
Nice.
my mind occupied so I don't, go into a shit fit since
I
I
know.
don't know what in the hell is going on. And everyone is out there saying something different, and who the hell knows what in the hell's going on.
I
And
agree
all these
with that.
people are just they don't know what's going on either. And they're half cocked, going out there half cocked. Who the hell knows what in the hell's going on?
No, I know. I all I know is that there's about now 20,000 armed troops in Washington D.C. for a riot that's not going to happen. At least, it's already come out that the Antifa Black Lives Matter set it up. So everything that they've done this week to Donald Trump, again, similar to what happened with you, everything that they've done, all these attacks, you can't incite a riot that was planned. So like all this stuff they're saying he incited, they finally arrested that guy, John Sullivan, tonight. The FBI arrested him, and last night CNN had him on, and MSNBC as a hero. He's from that Insurrection USA. Well, they caught him on film getting everyone ready to storm the Capitol and saying
I
we've got
didn't
it.
see that.
Yeah, it just broke, like probably right before we came on. And yeah, and then there's other things coming out too, like it's wildfire right now.
Who
Apparently they
was
just,
he?
yeah.
Who was he, Mel?
The John Sullivan guy, he actually was arrested in Portland too. He's a Black Lives Matter guy, totally funded. His group is called Insurrection USA. Of course, probably traces back to the Open Society. And he was caught on tape telling everyone to get ready to storm the Capitol, handing out stuff, telling everyone where to go, all of that, while Trump was still over at the Ellipse speaking. So finally now, as you and I obviously knew that this wasn't the Patriots, but they've caught him and the FBI arrested him tonight. On top of
Wow.
that, the FBI also arrested 13 of the top MS-13 members in the world. Now, MS-13
Wow.
isn't a gang. They're a
Right.
organization, they're a giant
Right.
drug cartel trafficking. But that happened tonight too. It's like they're bringing us
Wow.
right to the precipice, like Moses parting the sea. Right when you think there's no chance that we're all going to drown in the sea, it looks like things are starting to move. Because what I heard is that they're building that's really being run now by FEMA. What's going on in DC, which doesn't, which they're now armed and they're putting up like razor wire and stuff, preparing for what?
FEMA is in charge of what in DC? The National Guard or the
Yeah,
arrest?
no, they're not both, because yesterday Chad Wolf stepped down, and the person that
Right.
replaced him was the head of FEMA. And FEMA, when you're under an emergency, doesn't have to abide by the Constitution or anything else, and can arrest people. They have extra authority. So it looks like the guy that was running FEMA is now running DHS, and the operation in DC seems to be a FEMA operation because that Muriel Bowser isn't coming out now upset about the guys being armed. I talked to Ann earlier because they're down there, and she said it's surreal walking around. It's like being literally. I mean, you and I have been to Israel several times, so we're used to like seeing that, and to me, it's comforting. But I'm sure that it's not so
Yeah.
comforting in DC. But it looks like
Yeah.
stuff's going
Americans
down.
aren't used to it.
Yeah.
Americans are not used to it. They took their safety for granted, right?
Yep.
I
Well,
really
well,
noticed that.
that's what I wanted to talk to you about.
Your hair looks so great, though. What does it matter if we're at the end of the world?
I know, I
Your
know.
hair looks so great, it doesn't even matter.
That's why I did it. I was like, I'm gonna go get my hair done, some other stuff. I haven't taken care of myself in months. I might as well go down cute.
That's right.
So tell me
That's
about you.
right.
What are you thinking is going on a spiritual level? Because you have a nice spiritual connection.
Oh my God, it's so fierce. I just I just try to hang on like this. I feel like here's the windowsill and here's my knuckles,
Right.
and I'm flying backwards, just trying to dig in and hold so I don't fall. It's just so immense and so huge. I can't even describe it. I keep writing about it and feeling like, how will I tell anybody? And it's impossible to tell anybody because, it's very, everybody goes around, oh, it's going to be biblical, which it is. It already is incredibly biblical, but nobody knows anything about the Bible, least of all the Jews,
I
as
know.
we always talk,
I know.
least of all the Jewish people, and least of all the religious people. They know nothing. So,
True.
so it's like hard. Who do you tell it to besides you? Who am I supposed to? I tell it to my few friends. They're, like my kids say, God, mom, all your friends are rabbis, which is true. I'm like, how did I end up like that? But all my friends are rabbis that read biblical codes, and you and a couple other people. And, other than that, I can't talk to regular people. They just don't get it. But
I
it's
know.
so biblical. It's so huge. And, you try to put it into human language, but, they just have no context or way of decoding it. They have no way of, they have no vessel to contain it. I guess that's the biblical way you can put it. But oh, it's so huge. It's so huge. And all I could say is, if I was going to like try to talk to humans, is Purim is coming. That's all I can say.
The boomerang.
It's
Look up the
Purim.
book of Esther. Yeah.
It's Esther, and Purim is coming. And it's this way every year. Every year it's the same. And we're so programmed that we don't see that it's the same every single year.
Right.
That's how programmed we are.
Right. Well, that's what I try to tell people, especially about how we speak, is that it's every year. It's a cycle, and it continues and it continues, and that's the beauty, I think, of Judaism is it's a cycle. It continues, and if you're aware of it, you can really assess what's going on in a way that's not superficial. I think you and I have been so excited for Purim. People don't even understand.
It's subatomic. It's a subatomic level, and we always say subatom and Eve.
Right.
Adam and Eve, but ATOM.
Right.
It's subatomic. It's mega. It's meta at the same time. And man, it's alpha and omega too. It's beginning and end.
Right.
It's
exactly.
just the beginning and the end. And yeah, it is a boomerang, but it's a hall of mirrors. That's a good way to put it. It's all deception. People think they know, but they don't know. People think they're, people think that voting for Biden was a vote against the establishment. That's how fucking stupid they are.
It's so stupid. It is so stupid.
They think voting for the worst part of the establishment is being anti-establishment.
I know.
That's how deep the cleft of bullshit went into their brain.
Right. And as
they just have no concept of what they've done. They have no concept of what they opened the door to. They have no concept of the price they are personally going to have to pay.
Right.
That was least of all.
That's the biggest. I've been, not only did Biden come out and say in the next stimulus, he's not going to give money to white male-owned businesses. Then he also, Clyburn said that they should make the Black national anthem the new national anthem to bring us together. Apple is doing a program where they're going to put in $350 million to help anyone but white people. And this has been going on every day. They had Rashida Tlaib on the floor of the Congress saying that Trump is worse than bin Laden and he's a terrorist, but then also they're saying, a lot of the corporations are saying this white thing. And, I think about it in terms of Germany in the 30s and 40s. I mean, nobody knows this. We do. But, I see all these white people, then it was the Jews, but now they're actually saying, Biden actually said he believes that, in the next several years, white people should be the minority. Well, we're 60% of the country. So what does that entail? And I see these people.
Well, I'm telling you,
clapping. Go ahead.
I'm telling you, seriously, that when this far left group that occupies our government now and occupies the Democrat Party, or what's left of it, which is nothing, except hate. When they say white people, they mean the exact same people that the Nazis meant. That's
Right.
exactly who they meant. Let's not bullshit each other. They mean Jews.
Right. Right.
And that's who they always mean when they say white people.
Right.
And
Right.
when they say rich white people, and when they say privileged white people, and when they say bankers, that's who they mean. They can't say Zionists, because
Right.
they could say that for a while, but then they got called on it. So
Right.
now they just say white people. But
Right.
they're brainwashed, and they don't understand those poor kids. They don't understand that it's their ass. They don't understand that it's their ass that they are collateral damage to the Democrats, who are all white. They don't understand that
Right.
they are cannon fodder to the Democrats.
Yeah.
And despite people like me trying to tell them that, people who actually, like me, wrote all the narrative that the left uses to this day. I wrote most of it.
I know.
And,
Yeah.
So when I'm coming back from the other round to tell them, hey, it's all bullshit, and I saw through to the core of it, it means your ass. They want you in jail. They want you in prison. That's
Right.
their civil rights. When
Yeah.
they talk about, oh, we're not going to give it to white people, we're going to give that special treatment to black kids, they mean put you in prison.
Yeah. I mean, that's the worst part.
That's
Yeah.
exactly what they mean in their shitty public schools, which is a pipeline straight to prison. That's what they mean. They got it covered up with a lot of 1984 language, but it is. The Democrats are a completely racist party. They always have been. And, if you study the real history of the Democrat Party, the history of the KKK,
Right.
you'll see it. But, they got a lot of Hollywood stars that help them obscure that. I ain't one of them. But,
Thank God. Thank God.
I ain't there anymore.
Well, I mean, you'll always be there. Nobody can take that away. You still have your 25 million fans that the second you wanted to do something with.
28.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did it again. 28. But I'll tell you what, speaking of that, one thing I did want to talk about.
They don't like black people, and they don't like Jews.
I know.
And they put a lot of bows and whistles on it. They don't like Hispanics neither. They don't like any minority.
Well,
and why do you think the Swiss owns the voting machines?
Exactly.
The Swiss. Come on.
Plus, also, this COVID.
Let's wake up.
Right.
Let's wake up.
It's also the COVID has been used. It's, first of all, it was a bioweapon. It was planned. They all knew about it. Obama basically paid for it. Fauci was involved, but people still don't realize that Bill Gates is he's a eugenicist. He believes that there's too many people on this planet, and people are lining up to take a vaccine that they don't need because there's a cure, and they're hiding the cure. And these same people are getting vaccines and cheering on Joe Biden on their way to their own demise. Nancy Pelosi had the balls to stand out there the other day and say that the Trump protesters chose their whiteness over democracy. Okay. Hello, you're white, Nancy, first of all. Second of all, you come from a crime family, basically, that's been like living off of the taxpayers forever. And now she's full racist towards white people. I mean, it's such a farce.
She says white people. You got to listen really carefully to what they say. When people like her, who are the ruling elites,
right.
She has a vineyard, She's
I know.
Not just a white person.
They all do.
She ain't just a white person.
I know.
But when she says white person, listen very carefully, because what she in fact means is working class people.
Exactly.
She means Jews too.
Right.
But she means working class people. The working class
those people that we can do without.
Yeah, working class white people, she don't like them much. And she, working class black people, she likes them because they could go to prison and she gets a bonus.
True
She owns
story.
the jails they go to.
Yeah.
So, they look at all of us as prey. They don't look at none of us as their constituents or their bosses. We're all their prey. And whenever they talk, that's who they're talking to, is each other. It ain't none of us.
Well,
All
yeah.
of us are, we're the herds that gotta be thinned. They ain't talking to none of us. You can see that. They
For sure.
ain't got shit to say to any of us.
No, and the worst part is that the truth is they don't care about anything but their own crimes being hidden. This whole thing about this Trump takedown and the takedown of all of us from Twitter and YouTube and everywhere, this is really about silencing the world from knowing their crimes. These people are criminals. They are to the core. Whether, and we're talking about, I remember Julian Assange said 80% of our government officials would be in prison if we knew what they had done. And I think it's probably more than that now. There were so many
Of course it is.
traitors.
It's all of them. There's not any good ones.
No.
I mean, maybe there's 2 or 3 by accident or something.
Yeah.
They're probably on so many drugs that they can't remember to do wrong. But no, there's no innocent. The ones who are less guilty, they're letting the rest of them get away with it.
Right.
We know what they've done.
I know.
They think we can't see, but we know what they do. We know how they got there. We know how Kamala Harris got there.
For sure. Well, she's the pick. She's the new world order's pick. Is her. You and I know that. Biden is a total puppet. I mean, but the out and out acting like they are the champions for minorities when it's so phony. Just look at their cities, look at their towns, look at the all of that, and it's clearly that the whole BLM rioting and Antifa rioting now suddenly doesn't matter. Some a riot that they set up from the inside. I mean, there's plenty of footage of the Capitol Hill police, all of that. Go ahead.
I ran for president on, the Peace and Freedom Party because my comedy idol is Dick Gregory. He was also a dear friend, and he ran for president on that, and so did a lot of radical thinkers, and of which I'm one, and we ran on that, and we had a platform, and it's carried through. It's still there. I grandmaized the platform of the left in 2012, but it's still the platform of the people. And I have to say that Trump took it, and he used many pieces of it, particularly auditing the Fed and other ideas we had on behalf of people. So that's why I like Trump, because he is a populist above all else. He's not a politician, he's a populist. But we knew that this government, it's time to withdraw our consent. In no way did it have anything to do with any of us or our safety, obviously. Our safety is the last thing it thinks about, or our health.
Right.
Absolutely not our health, which is why they can't get any decent help. And you know what is so disgusting to me about Obama, the Obama care crap that they all go out here. I'm going to say 2 things. Number one is, when I hear Black people, listen, I was going to say the one thing that people who ran on peace and freedom and these radical people like myself say is that none of these paid revolutionary groups like BLM and Antifa, if you're getting paid, you ain't no radical.
Right.
Hello.
Yeah, it's a job.
When I ran for president, I'd be like, I do this and that, and they'd go, well, how come I need to get paid? I go, you think I'm going to pay you to be a radical? That ain't how it works. I'm not going to pay you. Well, they go, well, you're rich. I go, yeah, I am rich. And I intend to stay rich. And there's nothing wrong with being
because
rich.
you earned it.
If I employ a lot of people, that's a good thing.
Right.
If I employ a lot of people well, that's a good thing. I'm not going to go to that side of things,
No,
But these are not organic revolutionary groups. They're getting paid by sociopathic billionaires. And you can't be a billionaire and a socialist. Think about it. Come on, you can't.
they don't see
So
it.
they're working for these sociopathic billionaires, and they're not working for their own communities. When I see a black kid on there and they're talking about white people, white people, and the white people, the white racists, this and that, I'm gonna say something right now. I'm saying it to Jewish people too, and to every minority in America. Uh, the other people, they ain't your enemy. Your own people's your enemy. Take a
Exactly.
big swallow of that. Your own leaders are your own enemy because they are the ones who are selling you out.
Right.
Your own leaders are all corrupt and they're
Right.
selling you out for money.
Right.
And anybody who's working for money or doing any of this for a paycheck is corrupt, and you shouldn't
Right.
be trusting them. They're
Right.
jetting off to tell you how bad you got it. Come on, man. This is a people's thing. This is
Yeah.
people. This
Well,
is this
we talked
corrupt
before. Yeah.
leaders, and they don't have your best interests at heart. Absolutely not. They don't. They're all selling you out, just like they did in Nazi Germany.
Right.
Like we talked, Mel, about Hannah Arendt and how she was like totally blacklisted from the Jewish intelligentsia because she said rabbis were selling their congregants, a list of their congregants to the Nazis so they could feel safe. Well, that
Right.
isn't the German people turning them in. That's your own people turning you
Right.
in.
Right.
And as long as they can use that racism, you never have to look at the real truth of it. It's a
Well,
class
that's
thing,
what it is.
not a
That's what
race
it
thing.
is.
It's a class thing. Everything is always a class thing. Wake up, America. That was what all of my work was about, to tell people it's always a class thing. Race is just part of it. It's always about the money.
Right.
And
Always.
what do you think about them following the money all the way to the Vatican? Were you happy about that? That was kind of
I
cool.
was happy about that. Even more, I was happy about because I always knew what happened with you was like a total farce. That you were absolutely right about the Iran deal, and now we find out all that money actually went to Switzerland and then was sent around then to plan this election steal. That money went to the Vatican through the Iran deal.
That's
you
right.
know, and
Mhm.
all of it was all paid for. The Iran deal paid for the steal of this election and Dominion, and it's coming out in trickles, but it's coming
Not
out.
only that, but you got to look at what did they do to pay for the steal? They locked people down, just like in the movie Planet of the Apes.
Listen,
Like we said,
you were
they
so right
locked
that it's
everybody down
crazy.
because they might be able to read or speak to each other. So
Hello?
those big tech elitists, like in the movie Planet of the Apes, they locked everybody down because the human beings might be able to read, write, or speak to each other. So instead, they got locked down, just like in the movie Planet of the Apes.
Right.
Hello. So that,
Yeah.
look how they did. Look how
It's
they
so
did me.
disgusting that
Look how they did me.
but
Think about
now,
that.
but you were
Think about what
absolutely
she
correct.
did.
It's so
I
horrible.
was.
I wanted to talk to you about it though, because a lot of people, you know what they did to you? They depersoned you. They
Mhm.
tried to cancel you, your voice, who you were, take away your legacy, everything that you created. They took
They
away
did.
your product, your show, your life.
They
And it
did.
was all wrong. You were right about what you said about the Iran deal, and they punished you for it. We have multiple reasons why, but now in retrospect, look, now they're doing it to President Trump. It's
Yeah.
what's the psychological, what did you go through? Because a lot of people like me worked and got canceled off of Twitter, got canceled off of it, and it's like it's so devastating. But I can't imagine what it felt like on your level. I mean, your person, they tried to deperson you.
Yeah. I believe I've talked to you and several other people. I think they tried to put out a message to get me to kill myself too.
I believe that 100%.
They were trying
They
to
took everything and then
subtly ask
were
me,
pushing.
yeah, because they knew I had, they knew I had mental health problems, and they knew
Right.
that I was really going through problems when
Right.
they lied about me and lied to me and
Right.
deliberately lied to me about it. It
Yeah.
was only one season and it was to save people's jobs. And then, it was all a lie. It was all
Yeah,
a
and then there's a-holes. They kill you in an overdose. Anyone
yeah.
that watched Roseanne for the run, so ridiculous. It was like they're so evil. They're so evil. I heard today that Disney is going to be one of the mega vaccine locations. Did you see that?
Ah, oh my God.
Disneyland.
Are they
Oh,
going to
and
have Mickey
yeah,
Mouse give you the vaccine right in the kid's eyeball?
yeah,
Hi, kid.
you'll never see your parents again, kid. It's terrible. And this is how you know it's a farce. Also, Joe
Hmm.
Biden wants to put Bob Iger as the ambassador to China. Oh, really? Oh, really?
You should though. That'd be so great.
Yeah, because he's to be imprisoned within like a year for some random thing. But also,
He
you and
would
I
make
know,
the perfect Chinese ambassador though, because he is like, uh, nothing can touch that guy. Nothing
yeah.
touches him.
Well, I just can't understand.
Really pure politician. He could run for president because he's got the pure polished politician thing. Nothing gets through to him whatsoever. When he wrote that book, he
Right,
wrote that book and he was on Oprah, and he's
right.
talking, and she's like, "Why a book now?" Because she's such a deep interviewer. Why a book now? And she says to him, she goes, "Was it hard to fire Roseanne?" He goes, "Not at all." She goes, "Why a book now?" He goes, "I wanted to give back."
Oh my God, please give
It's
me a
like, okay,
break.
well, half the employees that work at Disneyland are living in their cars.
Right, I know.
Can't afford an apartment down there, but you wanted to give back by writing a book about how you don't pay your employees. And okay, so anyway, yeah, you would be the perfect guy to go to China. Why don't you make him the ambassador to Wuhan? That'd be really good.
It would.
He should be
It
ambassador to
would.
Wuhan.
No, I look,
Did
he's
you
on
know
Epstein
Wuhan is
Island.
where all the Christians are?
So awful. Yeah, I guess. I don't know. You're not allowed to have a religion. You're not allowed to believe in God in China. God is the CCP, you know? And all these companies, they're also disgusting. They know that the Uyghurs are in concentration camps and working for them, and they're fighting against human rights sanctions and stuff against that. And we're talking Apple, Nike, all the usual suspects who are all owned by the cabal at the end of the day, we know.
They're all going down for Purim.
I
The
know,
book
I
of
agree
Ruth. They're
100%.
all going down. I think. Look at my tattoo. I got this tattoo for Purim when I owned Twitter.
Right.
See that?
Yes. Yes. How ironic.
Purim, I think, not just me, but all the people.
Right.
We're going to nationalize it, and all the mother nasty things that think that they're going to tell us what to think. Well, you know what? It ain't going to go like that. We're going to tell you what we think, and you're
Right.
going to print it, and
Yeah.
you're going to work for us,
Right.
and we're going to like state fact, and you're going to like print fact. You're going to
Right.
print stuff that helps people in our communities and helps our grandkids get good jobs. You're going to do that, or else you're gone.
Right. Right.
How are
Well,
they going to?
AOC was talking about it today that we need to be re-educated. I mean, straight out of the Nazi playbook, right on the floor, saying to everyone. And let me tell you something, they orchestrated this thing. It's like the Reichstag, but nobody knows about what happened then. It's an orchestrated thing to cause a coup. And sadly, our CIA and all these people have been involved in them all over the world. We just never were awake enough to realize it could come here. And it did.
Well, they just go wherever. It isn't that complicated. It's just like my boyfriend Johnny says, wherever there's a pile of money, that's where they go to and get it. They don't care, if they'll go everywhere in the world because, they try not to go to their neighbor's house. They try to be nice. They'll go around the world everywhere as they go. But after they ate all that up and there's no place else, then they will go to their neighbor's house.
Right. Exactly.
There's no stopping them. They got to feed.
Exactly.
They'll go to their mom, they'll
Yeah.
go to their dad, they'll go to their kids, wherever it is, wherever they got that stuff they need, they'll go there. They don't have no morals.
No. Well, they're
We forgot
exposing
that.
themselves.
That's what we forgot. We forgot when they were killing them people across the world. Hey, they're killers
Right.
because we didn't see it. And we were okay with that too.
Right.
People don't have any idea what was done in their name, nor do they want to. But
Ugh.
like I always tell you, they're going to have to look, and they're going to have to look hard, and they're going to have to like do something about. They're going to have to get down on their knees and beg God to forgive them that they didn't look when they could have. I think
Oh,
don't you?
absolutely. Well, we haven't even gone there yet. We haven't gone to the child trafficking network. That is the real reason Trump ran. And people still don't know about it. I was talking to a couple friends the other day, and they literally do not believe me. They
No,
never heard of this. They never heard about the child trafficking and that organ trafficking, even worse. I mean, it's all awful, but and the children from Haiti and what happened on Epstein Island and these satanic ritual abuse going on in Hollywood and on Epstein Island and all these other islands and with the royals. People don't believe this is true, and it's absolutely true. The good news I heard, though, is that all the footage that they have from Epstein is analog, so nobody can say that it was manipulated, because I guess he never changed his cameras over to digital, so everything is truly documented from that end. And people are going to have to see it, because the only person who ever did anything in our history in the government about child trafficking and CPS and foster care is Donald Trump. Nobody else ever did anything. They just sat there. I was doing some research today. He's passed like 5 or 6 executive orders aiming at child trafficking and at CPS and foster care, which the Clintons made into a business, and also at online trafficking, all of that. Nobody ever touched it. Nobody even talked about it. They still don't talk about it. You know how you and I always talk about the best that he did God's work with the Abrahamic Accords for Jews, Christians, and Muslims, reuniting the cousins that were split apart by these same demons. And he wasn't allowed to talk about it. Wasn't allowed to talk about it. Imagine how such evil committed against God. It's so much bigger than Trump,
Yeah, it is way bigger than Trump. It is evil committed against God. It definitely is.
Yeah. All of their
That's what forum's about too. Forum's about, you know what forum's about. It's going to be a fantastic one, because we said we were going to talk about this too, because nobody knows anything about it, and it's so appropriate. But
yes.
forum is the time where you're saying, what are the odds? What are the odds? That's what it's about. And also the gragger that when we blot out the name of our enemy, we shake it until we can't hear his name no more.
Right.
The reason we do that is because the gragger is a wrench.
Right.
And we're throwing a wrench into the works. We're fucking it up.
Yes.
We're fucking up the machine.
I never thought of that. That's so true. We gotta get those and give them out.
Our psychic wrench into that fucking machine. Our psychic wrench.
Right. And their little camps that they want to set up for us, and that they want to silence us and give us no voice and all that. They're the ones that are going to end up with no voice. They're the ones that are going to end up in the camp. They're the ones that are going to end up, just like we talked about. The boomerang is coming, and it's coming now. I swear, last summer we were talking, we were like, Porum's going to be so great, and then I'd get off the phone with you and I'd be like, if anyone heard us talk, they'd be like, people are nuts.
Was it 3 years ago? It was 2 years ago, I think, 2 or 3. I always go to Israel for Purim. I took my mom. I think the last time I was there was 3 years ago. I took my mom. She'd never been.
Oh, great.
Oh, Mom, she's all paranoid. I can't. I go, you're going. And so, I made her go, but she loved it. And
everyone does. That's a beautiful part and the sad part at the same time.
And we were
the
there
picture that people have is so farce. It's such a farce. Jews, Christians, and Arabs live in peace in Israel. Everything that
eating the greatest food that ever was.
I know.
Oh my God! The best thing that happened is, if you're lucky enough to be invited into the Arab sector in Jerusalem for Arab food. Oh my God, so it's the greatest thing in the world. And I have been, so lucky as to have been invited there. And, it is it's a totally integrated world, such as nobody's ever knows nothing about, and how great it is. And the food, I just can't even tell you how great it is. But I was so happy to take my mom there. And that there's a place on earth where the way we talk can actually exist in this world. it's a minor miracle. We can tell our, I guess you'd call it tribal story, and people are like, huh? They're not like, what? You have some context or
Well, the
something.
worst part is the people don't even know the story of America anymore. The last 20 years of rewriting our textbooks, and it's K through 12, but it also college. People don't even know the real history of America.
No,
They
they
actually
have the history of
believe these
America.
lies. Imagine the people from the 13 colonies saw what's going on now. That they came here for freedom of religion and to, that these weren't all, they've just turned it into so many lies. So we have to go back
Well,
and
we
like
never
rewrite
knew
the
our
truth.
history. We've never known our history. I'd like to teach about how Benjamin Franklin went to study with the American Indian tribes to get the concept of democracy.
Right.
And I have in my museum, I have all those books that tell that story about how he studied how the Native American tribes they had real democracy, and everyone they had representational government too, and that's
Right.
where he learned the concept. So nobody knows the real history of any of that either. Nor do they know that on the night before George Washington went on the Durham boats and all that he prayed with a rabbi, and he didn't know anything about the Torah, but the
Right.
rabbi told people should know all that kind of like
Well, that's
stuff that they
why.
don't know too.
Well, they would never allow us to make those movies or write those books. I mean, even in my time when I was in college, in film school, I wanted to write about Hannah Arendt, and my teacher told me nobody cares. And I remember I was like, I'd written the whole outline of the whole movie. I had everything, all the plot lines. I was so excited. He's like, nobody cares about the Holocaust anymore. It's over. It's an old issue. I swear. I swear. And meanwhile, to me now, she's so more relevant than ever. She wrote the book on this, and nobody teaches it, which is the origins of totalitarianism, plus the banality of evil. The banality of evil is the COVID. What you said before is the truest thing of all that I've been saying this whole time. The lockdown, the 6 feet distancing, the masks. This is about dehumanizing us so we can't speak, just like the Planet of the Apes did that to those people so they couldn't speak and share ideas. Because now when you talk to the few people you get to see, their ideas, if they come from the mainstream media, CNN, MSNBC, any of them, Washington Post, New York Times, they literally know nothing of what's going on. Nothing. They know nothing of what's going on. And it's just
Kathy O'Brien, my friend, she said,
I love her. She wrote a great blog this week.
Great. She says that 6 feet apart is to remind you subtly of 6 feet under that you're going to keep you're in danger of death if you get close.
Right. Well, they played the worst card ever, death. They tried to play the climate change card to make us go to the Great Reset, Agenda 21, and then they realized it's not urgent enough to people. So let's now do something else so that every move they make is about dying. Dying is a little heavier. And that's really what COVID-19, it was just Agenda 21 with the climate change didn't work. So they reconvened at Davos and said, let's do a pandemic. And that's exactly what they did. And people still don't get it. And it's really, at this point, everything's going to have to be exposed. And like you've talked about all the time, people are going to need to see it.
In 2012, when I ran for president, I said, well, we have the machinery now and the capability with our great army to, solve all the problems of humanity. And all we need is just a change of heart and mind. Right. Because instead of using our great armies and service people, to go after the innocent, we make that small adjustment. We just go after the guilty.
Right, exactly.
For the first time in human history, and put them behind bars.
I think we're about to.
Problems. It'll be so great when people go click, hey, and we can find the guilty. They're very, very easy
obvious.
To find. And they get at the top of every multinational corporation. There they are, right there. There's the guilty. All the billionaires, they're the guilty.
Yeah.
Congress, the Senate, there they are, right there.
They just never, ever, ever thought that we would wake up They never, ever, ever thought.
A lot of investigations, we already know. We
Yeah,
got all the bank hacks that tell us where the money went.
right.
And I said that those people who stole our money, we won't need to even punish them because there'll be a punishment far worse than death, and that's that they have to pay the money back. Can you imagine the tortures of the damned that they will suffer when they
Yeah,
have to pay back the stolen money that they've gotten away with?
yeah.
That'll be worse than boiling them in oil, that they'll go, oh my God, I have to pay back that entire community that I stole their taxes.
Right, right. Well, people still, no matter how much I try to say it, they still don't get that the Fed is private. IRS is private, works for the Fed. So all, think about how many people's lives have been destroyed by the IRS. I
Yeah.
mean, millions and millions. I mean, people commit suicide. I mean, they're not, they torture people, the IRS. All these years, I know so many people. Meanwhile, that's a private bank, private corporation, sending that money back to the Bank of International Settlements, the Rothschild Bank in Cabal. None of that money, our taxpayer dollars, go back to us. None. It doesn't go to help us. And the real it's got to be, I don't like to say the plan, but the real thing that I thought triggered more of a universal awakening rather than just one side or one group was when people saw that bill and saw that there's $700 billion to send overseas, and we have even one homeless person, or we don't have mental hospitals. We don't. How about
the first votes they threw out in the garbage were the veterans votes? The military votes, people serving to keep them free and safe. That's the votes they threw out first.
I know. I couldn't.
I mean, their arrogance. I said this years ago too, that because it says in the Bible that in these days, it talks about these days, believe it or not, and it says that arrogance and ignorance, they're the very same thing. You can't have one without the other. They're never not together, and that they always take the person down who is the host for them.
Right.
It's a disease. But they just turn themselves in. So all we would have to do is look at people who their work history, who worked for them, and there you have your guilty.
Right.
Remember the
money
bank hack in 2007?
Right.
I think it was 2005.
Right.
Said everything that everything that we're finding now, it said every bit of it. So I actually think that the last 15 years were just to cover up that bank hack.
Absolutely.
Everything that was apparent there, the whole internet thing, everything was we got to cover that up.
Right.
We've got to cover that up.
Well, remember, it was banks were too big to fail. Not us, not the people. They didn't care about the people. The banks were too big to fail. The car companies were too big to fail. Well, now it's coming out that most of that money, for shovel-ready jobs and all that BS, it went right into their pockets. I mean, people need to understand this U.S. aid is money laundering. It's all money laundering, and it's our money. That's the craziest part that I found out about that judgment fund that they used to pay the Iran deal, is that that's our money. And under the guise of that we owe Iran money because somebody this was the lie, that somebody before the Iran Revolution, when they destroyed Iran, made a deal for weapons that never arrived. So Obama had to go pay them back 400 million plus 1.5 billion because they destroyed Iran and put in the regime and took away their freedom. I mean, that was really what he was saying. I mean, it's not funny, but it's just so unbelievable that A, nobody knows this, and B, the cognitive dissonance that it's open source. You can find this out if you wanted to, and people don't. And they
don't want to know.
No,
they didn't want to know. Like still the American feminists.
Oh God,
especially Jewish feminists.
Right, Steinem CIA.
They don't want to know what the Iran deal that they support did to the women of Iran.
Oh
That's what they want to know, because they're just phonies. They're just
if you see pictures of them,
capitalist,
right?
Liars.
Well, if you see pictures of the women in Iran, they wore mini skirts and look like
they own their own
business.
What's number one?
Right, they were successful, educated. Right. It's
Egypt
terrible.
and Libya, they own their own businesses too, till we went in there and ruined everything for them. Our feminists went
Right,
and
I
ruined
know. Our
everything
feminist,
for
well,
them.
I've always said to you, like
Yeah.
I know real feminists, and then I know these women in Hollywood that we know are such phonies running this Me Too,
Careerists.
the Me
Yeah.
Too people. It's so bizarre because a lot of people don't know Gloria Steinem was a CIA operative and started that Ms. Magazine, which,
Mhm.
feminism now is hating men, period. That's it's hating men, but it's even bigger than hating men. It's about hating America, acting like America's unfair to women. Nowhere's more fair to women than America right now. I mean, there's other countries. It's very fair to women inside of Israel, inside of certain countries, but it's coming. It's coming as it's been.
Well,
And
now I think it's all about loving and worshiping penis. That's all it's about now, which I guess is pretty much what it was always about.
well,
The big
that's
erect
for
penis,
their
the big
obelisk.
erect penis in your face, whether you want it or not. It's back to that. Back to
There's
so
they're so disgusting. I mean, it's just so disgusting. Well, we can leave it at that. I want to do another one with you on your channel soon about
I love talking to you. It's so great
I
talking to
love you so
you.
much. You are
God, I
you
love
are
you
such a
too.
gift from God to me. I mean, you know how I feel,
You
but
are too.
you and I are the only ones that when I like have a biblical or a God thought, I'm like the only person I can call is Roseanne, or they're gonna like 51 me into
I
the
know. They're
hospital.
trying to do that to me, believe me. Well, the closer we get to Purim, the worse it's going to get in my family too. So I'm doing all my Purim stuff in the closet.
Well, you call me. I'll be in the closet with you on FaceTime. Okay, love you so much. Thank
I
you for
love you
coming.
too.
I will see you
Thank you.
soon. Talk to you soon. Thank you. Love.
Ooh.
God
Bye
one.
bye, baby.
Bye.
Bye.